So I already have discussed few important parameters associated with operational amplifier. So the parameters were like input offset, then CMRR. So input offset means the change in your input. Even if your input is 0, you get some output in the uh, other side. So this is what we call input offset, and I also already have said that you may need to use some resistive circuit in order to get rid of this kind of problem. Then you have CMRR. So both input and CMRR is actually comes from the mismatch of the circuit, more or less. And I also have discussed the power dissipation, that the total voltage drop and the different parallel currents that you are getting in your circuit is actually your power dissipation. And at the same time, I also have discussed the power supply rejection ratio. So this is basically the problem that comes from the variation in your power supply, like VDD and VSS. So generally people put a capacitor in parallel, but this is not the only solution for it. This may give you some sort of comfort, some sort of I would say a fraction of solution, but maybe in other frequency zones you will find the problem still remains. So you have to think of how to totally get rid of power supply rejection ratio. Then you have slew rate, which is actually the response of your output with respect to your input, how fast your output is responding with respect to input, something like that. So it is defined as dV out by dt, which is ISS by CL. So I also have said, if you have a capacitive load, you want this to be charged or discharged faster. In that case, if you want this capacitor to charge faster, you need a higher current to flow. In that case, you need your dV out by dt value to be very high. So previously also I have discussed similar things. Now I will discuss some of the circuits related to op-amp, which is first one is inverting and non-inverting amplifiers. So let us start with inverting amplifiers. So this is the typical circuit of the inverting amplifier, wherein this minus and plus terminal actually defines that if you put input to any of these terminals, how your output is going to be. The minus here defines that if you put an input to this, your output may invert, so you will get something out of phase or something like that. So that's why it is called inverting input, and this is non-inverting input, and we symbolize them as minus and plus. So this is your inverting input, this one is your inverting input, and this part is your non-inverting input. Okay, the typical equivalent circuit for the op-amp would be something like this one. As it is shown, you have a Ri. Generally this Ri value is very high. I already said it's very high input resistance the op-amp circuit provides. Then you have a current source GM VGS, and you have a output resistance R0. Okay, now in similar way, if you convert this circuit to an equivalent circuit, you will find that your Vin is connected with R1 in series. Then you have open circuit here, because I am considering input resistance to be very high, so it is kind of open circuit, and you are getting V1 drop in this side. So what will be your current source? It's GMV1, the GMVGS, whatever we say, in this case will be GMV1, and you have R2 sitting in between the input and output, and you have the output resistance R0, which can also be neglected. But let's see what is the expression we get from this circuit. Now if you see the circuit, in this case this is Vin, this is your V1. See, this part is grounded, so you can consider this terminal as V1, because anyways this part is grounded, this is 0, so entire potential is in this node. So this is V1, this part is your V0, and now you can see whatever current is going from this side is going also from this side, because this is open circuit, this part is open circuit, so current coming from this side will go through R2 as well. So current in R1 is V1 minus V in divided by R1. Current in R2 is VO minus V1 minus V0. Why? Because current is flowing from V1 to V0. So we should write V1 minus V0 divided by R2. Now these two currents are equal. Now if you do some adjustment, you will find V in by R1 plus V0 by R2 is equal to V1 into 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Is that clear? Simple adjustment. Okay. You will find this is the case. So this is what we got just now. V in by R1 plus V0 by R2 equal to V1 into 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Now apply KCL. If you apply KCL, and currently let us say R0 is very high, so we can neglect this. Is that okay? You can neglect this term. You can keep it as well, but the calculation will become little complicated. Just to make life simpler, neglect this one. Anyways, it is not going to make much difference as it is very high. So the current that is coming from here will also go from this, because this part is now open. So the current that is coming from here will go through this. So essentially the current is equal to GMV1. So whatever you are getting, this part is V0, right? And this part is V1, I said, because this is grounded. Here it is shown. So whatever you are getting here, V1 minus V0 divided by R2, this will be equal to GMV1. Do some adjustment. You will find V1 into 1 by R2 minus GM is equal to V0 by R2. If you do the adjustment, you will find this. So nothing complicated here. So what is the value of V1 you are getting? Is equal to V0 by R2, this into 1 by the entire thing, 1 by R2 minus GM. Is that okay? So this is the value you have got. Now you have the value of V1, which you can replace in this equation. Just replace the value of V1 in equation that you have just derived. So this one will be V1 by R1 plus V0 by R2 is equal to V0 by R2, this term, into 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. So your V0 by V in this case, you have V in, you have V0 in here, you have V in, you have V0 in the here, left hand side and right hand side. So you just take this one in this side and also do some adjustment. You will find your V0 by V in is coming out to be minus R2 by R1 into 1 plus 1 by GMR2, 1 plus 1 by GMR2. So 1 minus 1 by GMR2 and 1 plus 1 by GMR2. Now for GM to be very high, what does that mean? GM is very high means your gain will be very high, AV, which is generally the case for op-amp. I already said it is 10 to the power 5, around 10 to the power 4, 10 to the power 5 in this range. So it is very high. So in this case, your AV will be minus R2 by R1. You can neglect this term and it will be minus R2 by R1. This is what we know. For inverting amplifier, your gain is minus R2 by R1. But there is a condition. Your open loop gain should be very high. Your GM value should be almost equal to infinite, or GM value should be very high, which in other words mean your open loop gain should be very high. Then only you can say that your inverting amplifier has a gain of minus R2 by R1. Now you can see here minus sign comes, so it is actually an inverted output. So that's why it is called inverting amplifier. Now let us see what is the output resistance. We already know this circuit. this one equivalent circuit. Now to find out the output resistance, what trick we use? Short the input, put a voltage source Vx plus minus, calculate the current Ix, then your Vx by Ix will be your output resistance. The exact same thing we have done here. Vx and Ix is the imaginary voltage source, you can say, in this case. You have incorporated, and also you have shorted the input side. Now you want to find what is Vx by Ix. Now in this case your V1 is nothing but your VGS, okay, and your R out will be Vx by Ix. Now if you look at the Ix, it is GM V1, this one, plus this Ix is getting divided in two direction. One is GM V1 and another one is this value, right? So this value is, if you look, Vx minus this part is 0, right? This is grounded, so this part is 0. So Vx minus 0 divided by R1 and R2 is in series. So Vx minus 0 divided by R1 plus R2. That is exactly what your this current component is. So your Ix value is GM VGS plus Vx minus 0 divided by R1 plus R2, which is basically VGS equal to R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into Vx. Is that okay? Now you have this value VGS equal to R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into Vx, and you have this equation as well. So I have just written these two equations in here, and now I am replacing VGS value in this equation. So Ix will be GM into R2 by R1 plus R2 into Vx, and you had Vx divided by R1 plus R2. Do some adjustment, you will find your R out Vx by Ix is this value, R2 plus R1 divided by 1 plus GM R2. Now for an op-amp, what is the condition? I said previously, the characteristics of op-amp is your input is very high, your output is very low. We got the inverting amplifier gain as minus R2 by R1 with a condition GM which is very high. GM tends to infinite. Use the same condition over here, GM tends to infinite. You will find your R out is coming almost equal to 0. So whatever assumption or whatever characteristics I said previously, it still holds in case of an inverting amplifier. Your output resistance is low, input is high, but in all these cases we have considered GM to be very high, almost 10 to infinity. So this is the condition where things are as we say. Now let us see the op-amp circuit element, how op-amp circuit looks like. So what we say is our input impedance or input resistance is very high. So this is V in 1, this is V in 2, this is V out. This is the typical symbol of an op-amp. Now if I replace this in this circuit which is shown here, you will see that current through this input terminal is equal to 0. Why I have written this? Because the resistance that we have considered, the Ri value, is very high. If it is very high, current through this terminal will be very negligible, and that's why we consider the current through these terminals are almost 0. Similarly, in the output side, what will be your output voltage? It will be AOL into V1 minus V2. This is V1, this is V2. So it is open loop gain minus open loop gain into V1 minus V2, and the output resistance will appear in series with the output voltage, right? Because if it is a voltage source, where does the series resistance, where does the resistance appear? It appears in series with the voltage source. For current source it is other way around, it appears in parallel. So in this case the series resistance, which is nothing but R0, is very very low, so you can consider this as a short circuit. Okay, so let us see what is the case. Now this is your circuit as I have shown. Your Ri is input resistance, R0 is output. Now you have considered Ri to be infinite. Infinite means it's potentially an open circuit, but let us take a value which generally is the case. You will get a very high value, but something is there, it's not completely open. Now in this case, if you see what is the current through Ri, your IRI will be V1 minus V2 divided by Ri. For Ri to be very high, your IRI value is very low. That's why we can say that the current through this terminal is 0. Now what is VD? VD is nothing but V1 minus V2, or you can say, as I have shown here as minus and plus, so you can say it is V minus V plus. And your output is minus AV, the gain into V minus V plus, which is nothing but minus AV into VD. Your VD will be minus V0 by AV, which is very simple to calculate from here. Now if your AV is very high, which is the gain, your VD will be 0. Now AV is the gain of the operational amplifier, which is generally very high. In this assumption, your VD tends to 0. And what does that mean? If your VD tends to 0, this is your VD, right? That means your V1 is equal to V2. Or you can say your V minus is equal to V plus. So both are in same potential. That is what it means. Now if you consider your V plus terminal is grounded, and as I just have shown you, V plus is equal to V minus, that means your V minus side is also grounded. Although it is not grounded physically, the effect of ground will go in V minus as well, because V minus is equal to V plus. With some simple assumption based on the circuit, we got V minus is equal to V plus. So if you ground V plus, your V minus will also be grounded, and in that case we call this ground as virtual ground. It is not physically grounded, it is virtual ground. What does that virtual ground mean? Ground means that all the currents will come and go into the ground, right? In this case, this is not the case. It's a virtual ground, it's not a physical ground. It is the effect of V plus which you have physically grounded. That effect you are going to see in the V minus terminal. Because if this is physically grounded, you look at this circuit, what does that mean? If V plus is grounded, that means if you ground this one, what will happen? You have a circuit similar to R1, R2, this part is grounded, here is your V in, right? This is R1, R2, so this is your V0. Essentially it means you have no relation between V0 and V1. And how come you then get a gain over here, right? So if somebody asks you if V plus and V minus is same, once you ground V plus, it means your V minus is also grounded, then why you are getting a gain? You say that in case of V minus, it is not a physical ground, it's a virtual ground, so it is not actually sinking your current. Is it okay? You can consider the potential here to be 0, but it does not mean that your current is sinking over here. It is not a physical ground. Please remember this. This is very important concept to remember. Otherwise, you may find that things are not matching with the logic. Is that okay? Now after that, let us see the amplifier with T network. Now before I go to explain this T network thing, if you see this gain for non-inverting case, it is R2 by R1. What does that mean? If you increase R2, your gain will increase. So it's basically the ratio, right? So you can put here 1 ohm, 10 ohm, it will give you a gain of 10. You put 1k, 10k, also it will provide you a gain of 10. 1k means 1 kilo ohm and 10 kilo ohm. You put 1 mega ohm and 10 mega ohm, this also will give you a gain of 10. Now the question is, what should I put? Any of these choices will give you a gain of 10, but what should I put? If you put a very low resistance, it will drive a lot of current through it. Why? Because if you see here, your I1, say whatever I is actually V by R, right? Whatever current is going, it's actually V by R, the potential drop between these two by R. So if your R is very low, your I will be very high. So whatever source you have put here, it will extract a lot of current from it, which is not desirable in practical case. When you are doing experiments in laboratory, that's fine. You can see that in both the cases you are getting gain, that's fine. You do with 1k, 10k, 1 ohm, 10 ohm, 0.1 ohm, 1 ohm, you will get the same gain. But in practice, you can't do this. It will extract a lot of current. So based on that, you have to decide what you want to choose, the values of your resistance. Generally, you put it in the higher side so that it doesn't drive a lot of current from the source. So one may think, then why can't we put a very high value? Let us put it 100 or maybe say 10,000 mega ohm, and here I put 1 mega ohm, so we will get an 10,000 gain very easily, right? Or maybe higher, 10,000, why 1 lakh mega ohm you put. But this won't work, because in that case the value ideally should not come closer to your RI value. RI means the input resistance of the amplifier. If it comes closer to your RI value, it will start influencing your input impedance, input resistance. And what does that mean? When these values start influencing the circuit inside the IC, again you have to go back into the IC to change few things, which is again not desirable, which is not a good idea. So generally you put the value of R2 which is lower than RI, the input resistance. You never go close to the RI. It should be much lower than RI, and that's why you just can't choose anything as such. Okay, so this thing you have to remember. So in this case, I was discussing this T network. So one thing is clear, that R2 you can't increase as much as you can. That is not possible. There is a limitation. So what if we use a T network in such a situation? What will happen? Now if you see that T network, this is your I1 current through R1. You are getting the same current going through this to the R2. Then it is divided into I3 and I4. Now I have kept this direction upwards. It will make the calculation little easier. So we will take care of the symbol. Okay. So in this case, your I1 will be I2. I1 will be equal to I2 because this is ground. So this is virtual ground. So you can expect the I1 is going, all the current is going to the resistors I2. So your V minus in this case is equal to VG, which is 0, because this is ground. So this one will be also a virtual ground, already discussed. So no current enters the input. So your Vx in this case, which is the potential in this point, I have considered the potential in the T junction is Vx. So your Vx is basically 0, this is 0, minus I2R2. Minus I2R2 is equal to Vx. And then which you can write as minus I1R1, and also you can write this as V in by R1, because your I1 is nothing but minus, your I1 is nothing but, this is R1 value, this is your V in value, so your I1 is V in by R1, right? The current through this branch is V in minus 0 by R1, that is V in by R1, so you replaced it as V in by R1 and into R2, simple calculation. Look at the voltage Vx. Your I2 plus I4 both are coming towards Vx is equal to your I3 if you apply KCL. Simple. Now your I2 value is minus Vx by R2. From this you can calculate. Your I4 value will be minus Vx by R4 because you have taken the direction in the other upward direction, right? Generally it should be in the downward direction because this part is grounded, so it is Vx by R4 is equal to I4, but the direction you have chosen to be in the upwards direction, so it is coming as Vx minus Vx divided by R4. And your I3 is, this is V0, this is Vx, and it is going from Vx to V0, so Vx minus V0 divided by R3. Do some adjustment, take these Vx values all together, you will find Vx into 1 by R2, 1 by R3, 1 by R4 is equal to V0 by R3. Now go here, it is minus V in by R1 into R2. Just replace the value of Vx with this. Then you will find this is minus V in by R1 into R2 into this value is equal to V0 by R3. Or you will get V0 by V in because you have V0 this side, V in this side, which is your AV is equal to this value. So you have come to an gain is equal to this value, wherein it is minus R2 by R1, which was the case if you only put R2, we have already have seen, into this value. Now you have more control. You can change your R3 value, R4 value, and you can get a higher gain. For getting a higher gain, now just by changing some other resistances like R3 and R4, you can achieve the gain you required. So previously there was a problem, you can't increase R2 very high because it may come close to your Rin or Ri, which will create a problem. Now you, in this case, you get an extra two extra parameters as R3 and R4, and this will help you to increase your gain as much as you can. So it will give you some extra benefit. So the T circuit or T network that you have learned in network is useful in this case. So this is a simple application of T network, okay, in case of amplifier. Now similar to inverting amplifier, we also have non-inverting amplifier. Non-inverting amplifier means this time your input is in the non-inverting pin of the amplifier. Previously it was in the inverting pin of the amplifier, minus in here. This time you have the same thing in the non-inverting pin, that is plus, and you have grounded the non-inverting terminal. So similarly Ri is very high, so you can't expect any current going into the amplifier. So in this case your V minus equal to V plus, you can consider, we already have shown, because you are putting V in over here, the same voltage will reflect over here. Previously it was ground, so it was a virtual ground over there. This time it is V in voltage, so this same voltage will reflect in your V minus terminal as well. So your I1 you can say is equal to 0 minus V in divided by R1, right? So it will be 0 minus V in, because V minus is equal to V in now, so it will be ultimately minus V in by R1, right? And your I2 will be V in minus V0 divided by R2, so it is here V minus, so we have written first V minus and then replaced it to V in, so same thing, V in minus V0 by R2. But your I1 and I2 will be equal because no current is going in this inside. We already have said Ri is very high, almost infinite, so all the current will go through this path. So it is I1 equal to I2. Just use these expressions, you will find your V0 by V in is 1 plus R2 by R1. So for a non-inverting amplifier, your gain is now 1 plus R2 by R1, which was minus R2 by R1 in case of inverting amplifier. So more or less same. The ratios will be little bit different, because if this is equal to say 50, now R2 by R1 will be 49. Previously R2 by R1 was 50 itself. But if you look at this gain, there is no minus sign. So actually it is a non-inverted output. Previously it was an inverted output because the gain was minus R2 by R1. Okay. Now similarly, we also have a very strange circuit which is known as unity gain amplifier, where we have connected the input with the output without any feedback resistance. Now in such a situation, your V output will be your V input. So V output by V input will be 1. That's why it is called unity gain amplifier. Now why this is important? This type of circuit is important as a buffer, because you will get an high input resistance and low output resistance. Say if you have a circuit where your input resistance is very high, and when you connect this to a load which is very low, say 1 kilo, you will find a loading effect over there for Vin. That means if you don't put the buffer, this is buffer, okay, if you don't put it, your circuit is something like Vin 10 mega, your load is 1 kilo. So what will be your V output? Your V output will be, according to voltage divider rule, 1k divided by 1k plus 10 mega into Vin. So your output will be very, very less, because the network is such that your output is very low but your input is very high. So in that case, you will face a huge problem how to deal with this kind of circuit, because if your output is very low, you can't work with this kind of small outputs. In such a situation, just to match the amplifier, just to match the resistances, you put a buffer, this kind of circuit, where the input resistance of this will be very high, which is of this order. So you have taken care of this, and output of this will be lower of that order. So you can adjust this and can use this as a buffer to get rid of this kind of loading effects. So you won't find any loading effect if you put a buffer in between. So this is the application of unity gain amplifier. Okay. Or in certain cases, you will find if your load is very low, it will drive a lot of current, because R is less means, as I have showed, R2 by R1 cases. If your R2 and R1 is very less, it will drive a lot of current. It will extract a lot of current from the source. In such a case, some people put unity gain amplifier so that they can minimize the effect of that small load.